We've all heard of the big viruses, the ones that make headlines and bring about widespread illness, like the flu, COVID-19, or the common cold. But what if I told you that there's a virus, or even multiple viruses, that you've probably had, but never even knew about? In fact, some viruses silently affect most of us, lingering in our bodies for years, often without causing any noticeable symptoms. These are viruses that we may not recognize, yet they've been living inside us for a long time, and in many cases, they'll never leave. One of the most common of these hidden viruses is the herpes simplex virus, HSV, specifically HSV-1, which is typically responsible for cold sores. Many people contract HSV-1 during childhood, usually through close contact with someone who has the virus, like a family member. Most people who are infected with HSV-1 may never experience any symptoms at all, or they might only have mild, infrequent outbreaks. Yet, the virus stays in the body for life, hiding in the nerve cells, only to reactivate later, often in times of stress, illness, or sun exposure. You might have had a cold sore once, or perhaps you never had one, but the virus is likely still in your body, quietly waiting for the right moment to resurface. But herpes simplex virus isn't the only one. Another common virus that you've probably had without even realizing it is the Epstein-Barr virus, EBV, which causes mononucleosis, also known as mono or the kissing disease. Most people get EBV during childhood or early adulthood, and many never show any signs of infection. In fact, up to 95% of adults worldwide have been infected with EBV by the time they reach adulthood, yet many may never develop the symptoms of mono or any other illness related to it. Even though the virus typically causes fever, sore throat, and swollen lymph nodes when active, it can also lay dormant in the body for years. Some researchers believe that EBV may be linked to certain cancers, like nasopharyngeal cancer and Hodgkin's lymphoma, though these complications occur rarely. The next virus you've probably had is cytomegalovirus, CMV, another member of the herpes virus family. CMV is very common, and many people have been infected with it by the time they are adults. It's usually contracted through close contact with bodily fluids, like saliva, urine, or blood, and often causes no symptoms at all. In fact, most healthy people who get CMV don't even know they've been infected. However, CMV can cause more serious problems in individuals with weakened immune systems, such as those who are immunocompromised or organ transplant recipients. In rare cases, CMV can cause birth defects if a woman contracts it during pregnancy. But for the majority of people, the virus remains latent in the body, never causing problems. Let's not forget human papillomavirus, HPV, the most common sexually transmitted infection in the world. In fact, it's estimated that nearly 80% of sexually active people will get HPV at some point in their lives, often without ever knowing it. While some strains of HPV cause genital warts or in rare cases lead to cancers like cervical, anal, or throat cancer, many people with HPV have no symptoms and will clear the virus from their bodies without ever knowing they were infected. Most HPV infections go unnoticed, and for many people, their immune system will eventually suppress the virus, preventing it from causing any harm. But because the virus can persist in the body, the risk of developing more serious conditions remains, which is why regular screenings for women, like the Pap smear for cervical cancer, are so important. You've probably had the influenza virus, flu, at some point too. Even though the flu is a well-known virus that causes seasonal outbreaks and affects millions each year, it's a virus that can often go unnoticed in the body. That's because many people may have mild symptoms, like a low-grade fever, fatigue, or a runny nose, which they dismiss as just part of the usual seasonal cold. But even if you don't get fully sick or miss a day of work or school, you might still be infected with the virus, and it could still spread to others. The flu is often a silent intruder, and it's estimated that a significant number of flu cases are subclinical, meaning the person doesn't show severe symptoms but still carries and spreads the virus. Another silent viral infection is the human parvovirus B19, the cause of fifth disease. Most people have contracted it during childhood, often without any symptoms at all. The virus causes a mild rash illness in children, but in adults, it typically presents with joint pain, which can be confused with other illnesses. The virus can remain in the body long after the symptoms have cleared, and in rare cases, it can cause complications in people with weakened immune systems. Most of the time, though, the virus goes unnoticed, quietly living in the background without causing significant problems. Finally, hepatitis B and hepatitis C are two viruses that have been around for a long time, and many people don't realize they're infected with them. Hepatitis B is often passed from person to person through contact with infected bodily fluids, while hepatitis C is usually spread through blood. Both viruses can cause long-term liver damage if left untreated, but most people with these infections don't show symptoms, and they might never know they have it. Chronic hepatitis B or hepatitis C infections can stay hidden in the body for decades, quietly damaging the liver without noticeable symptoms until serious complications, like cirrhosis or liver cancer, appear much later in life. So why do these viruses often go unnoticed? Many of them can remain dormant in your body after the initial infection, sometimes for years. Even if your immune system clears the symptoms of the virus itself can still be hiding inside your cells, ready to re-emerge when the conditions are right. This ability to stay hidden is one of the reasons why viruses like herpes simplex, cytomegalovirus, and human papillomavirus are so difficult to fully eliminate, and why their impact can last long after the symptoms have subsided. In a way, these viruses are always with us, lurking in the background of our lives. But in most cases, they don't make themselves known, and many people live their entire lives without ever experiencing the effects of these viruses. Whether it's a case of immunity clearing the virus quickly, or simply never showing any noticeable symptoms, these viruses often remain unnoticed, but they still shape the story of our health in ways we might not realize. Next time you hear about a new virus, or perhaps when you're getting your flu shot or HPV vaccination, remember that viruses are often more common than we think, and many of them are already a part of your body's story. Some of these viruses may never cause harm, while others may silently stay in your body for years, occasionally surfacing or potentially leading to health complications later on. It's the silent nature of these viruses, how they hide, evolve, and persist, that makes them both fascinating and dangerous. And it's a reminder that the world of viruses is far bigger and more complex than we often give it credit for,